Welcome to Sideline Theory. My name is Brandon Cheatham here with Michael Lane.
Whoop, whoop.
We are back in this cold basement.
Yeah,
We did start the heater a little earlier today, so that helped.
it helps because at Sideline Theory, we give semi-professional opinions.
From unprofessional distances.
Like Brandon said, still in his basement.
Yeah, we're going to take this to the next level with opinions tonight on some things that I'm not super familiar with, but it looks cool while they're doing it on some of these Olympic events.
Yes.
We'll get into some of
Which,
that.
it's helped. Dude, how has your first week plus been post-football?
Sad.
Were you bored? Yeah? Or did you
Sad.
miss it a little bit?
Yeah, like we've mentioned before, I'm a Falcons fan. So there's been a recent article and some stuff come out about one very select
Pierce, right?
James Pierce.
Is he done? What's the update with him?
I honestly haven't followed it past the incident. Obviously, feel for all involved. I haven't looked deep enough into it to figure out even what the issue was. But yeah, I think this is, from an organizational standpoint, this is a guy that had some character issues at Tennessee.
Sure.
With Matt Ryan coming in, I think it could go one of two ways, but I tend to think like it's hard to keep a guy like that as a rookie. He was a very impactful player, but it's going to be a hard sell, I think, in Matt Ryan's first year to like not take a stand on something like that. So we'll see. I haven't followed it much, but yeah, the only thing I've heard since the season ended for my team is not good. So
I would guess something to the effect of like 8-game suspension in-house. I don't want to lose you. You're cheap. You're good. I'm suspending you. We're self-suspending you. Get good.
Yeah.
And you'll be back.
And that's where, from a personal standpoint, you hope there were like an older group of guys in the room, like a Grady Jarrett, a Calais Campbell.
I was like, I don't know if there's an older.
There's not
Jesse
really.
Bates, maybe. But.
Yeah, so that'll make it a little tougher. But yeah, I mean, from a human standpoint, I hope he can figure out a way to get some help for himself. From a NFL standpoint, I think owners tend to go like, hey, I'll just draft another guy.
And from a Falcons fan perspective, you're used to post-mortem football with like week 14 in the NFL season.
100%.
So this is unique. And dude, for me, it's been not bad because of what we're going to lead the show with, but really enjoyed the Olympics so far. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So to start the show, we're going to talk some Olympics, the spectacle that is the Olympic Games, and why it always delivers chaos and greatness. And I know Mike's watched a few more of these games.
I'm a proficient curler.
So we'll pass it to him on your initial thoughts of what you've seen so far.
I want to hear from you first, man. My wife and I have been able to pay attention prime time. She's looped me in a lot because of the skiing. So I get to watch a lot more other stuff because I've been semi-forced to watch the figure skating, but it's been, I think it said skiing.
Okay, yeah.
Figure skating is what she's wanted to watch. And so what has stuck out to you when it comes to these games?
Typical American fashion.
Go for it.
We're not in the lead, but we are third in the medal count as of today.
Okay.
As of today, obviously this is shifting every day. We're on the podium.
Who's Norway?
Norway's leading the way. And then Italy is right behind them.
Ooh, the Italians.
Yeah, Norway's got 33 medals overall. Italy 25, the U.S. 24.
Okay.
And those are all in line with gold as well. So Norway's got 15 golds. Italy's 9 golds. U.S. is 7 golds.
Dude, before you get going on like specifics, if you and I entered the Olympics in 2030, if we started today, be like, yo, I'm about to train. We're about to train. We could do like a team thing. You could do an individualistic thing. What Olympic sport do you think you could qualify and compete at in the 2030 Olympics?
Do they have anything around eating?
If falling down the downhill and eating snow? I don't know.
Other than losing, I would say in my not vast knowledge of Olympic games and events, I would probably have to, and don't take this offensively if anyone that watches this or listens to it, curling.
Let's go.
It just seems the most doable for a regular person. Maybe it was the Kelseys doing it, and I got to see.
Oh, have they done it?
Yeah, Jason Kelce, his wife.
Oh, did they do well?
Test run. I don't know how to even determine if they did well, but
okay.
Yeah, that's the one that has probably the least amount of physical barriers to entry. So yeah, I'll go with that one.
I think that curling, you and I, if we started a curling today, By 2030, I really think we might be able to be there, bro. You have the dude who sweeps, so you're like cleaning the ice so it goes farther. Have you ever played shuffleboard?
No.
Well, frick. I'm positive we could learn it. Dude, country is really good at curling. Sweden. The Swedish, bro, are very good at curling for some reason.
Country not as good. Canada. I don't know if you saw that debacle.
No, I missed it.
The Swedes calling out the Canadian
for
guy
cheating
for
or
double
what?
touching the iron or the iron.
The rocks.
Once he let go of it, he touched it with his little index finger. Yeah, there was some swearing. Bro. He swore he didn't do it. He cursed them out, and then the replay comes back and bites you a little bit.
We could do it.
Yeah, I agree. I
think
you and I by the time that Olympics rolls around, we're probably gold medal placers, honestly. So, but yeah, I do have a few thoughts.
Go
right,
for it.
I've watched some of this stuff that are just cool feats, and some of this, like I don't even think we can fully appreciate based on how simple and easy they make these things look.
100%.
Until you like either get a really slow instant replay in slow-mo of like, holy cow, he just did that in the air. But yeah, a couple just to call out. Jordan Stoltz, the speed skater for the U.S. It was kind of cool just to watch the interviews of previous Olympic gold medalists about how he's like a cut above for speed skating and he's the greatest thing to ever touch the ice as far as that goes.
Which Jordan Stoltz, speed skater. Did you see, bro, the biggest thing that I learned about these speed skaters, their quads are massive.
I had that note.
Quadzillas, bro.
And glutes.
Yeah, oh, dude,
and then there's
butts
nothing
are
above.
huge, bro.
These are like small
skinny
people.
Arms, bro. But
and just
it showed that like one of his practices was going out to do like a full speed skating trial practice and then going back and just repping 400 pounds on squat 10 times. Just easy.
I believe it.
Yeah, bro.
That was one of my wife and I's first takeaways was
butts are huge.
Holy cow. And it was so disproportionate to above their waist. But yeah, I mean, that's how you have to be built to generate enough power to do that at a high level. So pretty cool. You know, he's got a couple golds right now, and I think 2 more events that he's going to be favored or close to favored to win gold there. Breezy Johnson is a big one for me. This was the first Olympic gold medal for the U.S. No, so it's been, I think, a couple weeks back now, but just an incredible story of redemption. So this was a gold medal in the Alpine downhill skiing for the women's side. She's had several knee tears, but she had an ACL, meniscus, and some cartilage tear in 2022 that forced her out of competing at the Beijing Olympics like 3 weeks before the Olympics. And the injury that she had there actually was sustained on the same slope of these Olympics. So she gets to come back to the same spot that derailed her, in 2022 and not only like do well and perform, but win gold. So that's got to be an amazing feeling. Chloe Kim, shout out, silver in snowboarding halfpipe.
Which I don't think she'd want to be shouted out necessarily. She was going for the first three-peat.
That's fair. Yeah.
Snowboarding history.
The cool story though is that she helped facilitate
the gold
medalists, like with training and like bringing her under her wing. Which I think it feels better to bring someone under your wing when you're still the gold medalist. But either way, it's still pretty cool. She handled that very well. Like
immediately, very nice.
Yeah, like straight to what I assume she would consider a friend and like congratulating her. And it's got to feel cool too to know that you had some part in like facilitating that happening, where you see some talent and you help like channel that into an Olympic gold medal. Unfortunately, it's your goal.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what every Olympic athlete wants. They want to help 100%. Facilitate the other person to win.
Yeah, 100%.
In their 4-year pursuit. So.
But yeah, big shout out to boyfriend Myles Garrett,
Ooh.
NFL sack leader in the history of the NFL for a single season. And part of my Browns in attendance to cheer on. So
he was there with his camera. You saw his like nice camera they had.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, Miles, people are gonna professionally take these. Like, bro, I don't know if you're that good of a photo taker.
It's a hobby.
I'm whatever.
It's a hobby. He's got to get used to that. When they're taking
he has to spend
pictures of all those trophies.
$200 million somewhere.
That's fair. And then my last one to call out, Mac Forehand wins silver in men's ski big air. I watched this last night. This is one that I'll tell you the trick he landed. A nose butter triple cork 2160. I looked up I went to ChatGPT and was like, I don't know anything about this, and it gave me a full breakdown. But the biggest thing I got from it is he's basically like corkscrewing his body
Yeah,
while spinning 6 full rotations.
that's pretty impressive.
So yeah,
I
it was
would call
just
that
unbelievable
smooth
to
like butter.
look at and be like, and I literally told my wife, I go, how do you? And I'm sure there are very simple ways that people could explain this, but how do you even begin to train for something like that on the timing of your body hitting the slope the exact same way that it needs to, so you don't die? So yeah, super impressive. There's a few of them that I've really began to appreciate. I don't think I can fully appreciate just because of the efforts, but pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, but dude, this is my first time really sitting down to watch the Winter Olympics. I've watched the Summer Games, Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, different things like that. But getting to sit down post football and watch the NBC coverage, Mike Tirico, much better built for Olympics. Stay away from the Super Bowl, please, bro. They've done an excellent job. I've really enjoyed it. Honestly, getting to sit with my wife has really been a cool thing. We've gotten to just watch and appreciate what the different athletes are doing. And bro, something like the girl Alon Taylor, who is the mono bob, which is they're in the thing going down the hill really fast. And she's 41, oldest singles Olympic gold medalist in history of the Winter Olympics. Alon Taylor going down, beat the German girl, I think I talked maybe here or somewhere else about the German girl holding off the 3 Americans behind her. Alon Taylor beat her by like 0.05 for a gold medal. Crazy going down the monobob. Dude, you have something, you said that you watched the skiing bigger. Just overall takeaways. The Japanese, super good at big air, like super good at snowboarding, bro. I don't know what it is. I think it's genetics because they might be a little smaller so they can like throw and twist their bodies all crazy. Japanese dominate. So like you have like the long distance stuff, which is like the skiing with like 10K, which doesn't look like skiing. It's kind of like running on skis.
Miserable is how I would
the Norwegians, bro.
Yeah.
Killing it. Like no one comes close. Then one Norwegian guy is the reason the Norwegians have like the most golds is because this one guy has like 5 individual golds because he's just destroying the field. Also very gross because at the finish line they just have slobber and snot all over their face.
Oh yeah.
Really disgusting.
And no one cares.
No.
Yeah. Full force effort.
You're talking about speed skating. When it comes to speed skating, the country that's dominating, the Netherlands. Apparently, for some reason, other than Jordan Stolz, but like the 1,000 meter, the 3,000, the different, just the Netherlands have won like 4 of 5, and I think Jordan Stolz the only one did not be that. The team medals, Norway won. I mean, it's just the Netherlands won. Netherlands killing speed skating, crazy, weird. I don't understand it. And then there's just been downhill skiing. Nuts, bro. They're going so fast. I've watched the sport for approximately 27 total minutes in my life, and I've already pinpointed downhill skiing's biggest problem. The flags are, you have these 2 poles that are connected. So if you're going 80 miles an hour and you catch inside the flag, you're falling and hurting yourself. And it's happening a lot. Bro, can we not, Olympics, just do a single like why does it have to be 2 things with a connection up top that they can get caught? Can we please fix that somehow? Somebody in the Olympics. Because also the announcers don't help because they're freaking out. I'm like, you guys watch this every day of your lives. You're like, oh my gosh. It's like, dude, you're making me nervous watching these people, bro. I'm like genuinely getting nervous. There was one guy in giant slalom. You're talking about like appreciating microscopic things. Apparently your ski has to go behind the pole to make sure you're going. He just missed it by an inch, literally disqualified. He was a gold medal, like he was in the front running position, last one to go, got disqualified on his last run, lost. Literally chucked his skis and like just took off walking in the mountains. Literally, like dude is up in the mountains by himself.
Has he been located?
Yes, he finally felt like the camera caught him, like which I mean, he needed a minute. I understand, but we're still going on this. Just crazy, and all of it getting to the figure skating. The figure skating I've never really watched, never cared about, but my wife really loves it. Really thinks that's beautiful. Talking about
I did watch Blades of Glory.
Okay, yeah, Will Ferrell. I mean, that does help. What's the move that they do? The triple. They do something nuts. And we're talking about like training and not wanting to kill yourself. How do those figure skaters perform and do the things that they're doing? Like, what's the first time you practice throwing a girl in the air 12 feet and catching her over ice where, like, if you drop her, she's dead?
Yeah, 100%. I will say just a caveat to that. That, in my opinion, in this Olympics and any Winter Olympics, that's got to be the most impressive thing is the team figure skating,
Yes,
where
duets,
these guys are literally lifting these women. Like
their lives are like.
Not only that,
how do we not watch any of them fall?
These things are hard to do on just like a flat surface with shoes on with great traction, but on skates. And like one of the U.S. routines that I watched early on, the girl is standing on his quad.
Yep.
And they're like describing how, hey, if her foot shifts one way or the other, it can slice his leg open.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree. I think that's easily one of the most impressive.
Remarkable.
things.
The best performance I saw were the Japanese duets. And then I want to get to a specific thing and us go into a different topic. But the Japanese duets, it was this couple is the presumptive favorites. They're going to win the gold. They go, and there's like 2 rounds in figure skating. You're short and then you're long, and then 2 scores combined, you get the gold. So their short program, he's lifting her and transitions down and messes up. And dude is bawling his eyes out as soon as it's over. I'm talking inconsolable. So they're in 5th place going into the long version. He and her go out there and literally perform the highest scored routine in pairs figure skating Olympic history. And it was flawless. And they did it to the Gladiator soundtrack. Also, the thing that's at least like has roped a casual dude like me in, the music, not that bad. I heard Top Gun music, Gladiator music. There was some Lady Gaga. And I was like, dude, this is pretty dope. So Japanese duet couple, good job. It was epic. And that leads us to a discussion I want to have around Ilya. Neither one of us can say his name fully right.
Malinin.
Ilya Malinin.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Quad God, never heard of the guy. Everyone says, oh, he's supposed to be this incredible dude. It checks out because literally every analyst said he is the guy. He does jumps that no one in the world can do. He does the quad axel no one else can do. And if people can do it, he can do it in a routine 7 times, and other people literally only have the strength to do it like 1 to 3 times. And so this guy, he's the quad god. It's his first Olympics at 21, and they do the team program, and he loses to a Japanese guy or Chinese. And the team still ends up winning the gold, but he did second behind that Japanese guy. That was in the team event. So they end up winning team gold. They switched to the individual, the short program, the first one. Ilya skates perfectly and is dominating. At the end of it, he's the leader, winning, looking incredible. Going into the long program, the few guys skate really well that have launched in front, but everyone knew it was Kageyama from Japan and Ilya was in the lead. Kageyama goes second to last skater, messes up on his very first jump, but skates pretty flawless after that. Still is able to get up to second, but is devastated. Absolutely devastated, bawling his eyes out, upset because he knows he messed up. This Kageyama guy is around Ilya's age, 20 plus, but he competed in the Olympics at 16. Ilya is the last skater to go, 21 years old, left off the American team at the previous Olympics. And from his very first jump, not even skate perfect, not even do his best, but just go out there and do what he does. And he literally couldn't jump. It was nuts. It was listening to analysts, watching the people, it was mind-boggling to watch and to witness and to behold. And so he fails epically. And he's sitting immediately after, and he looks at, they caught it on camera. He said, that's why I told them they should have let me compete in the last Olympics. He said it. And his very first quote, I'll give him credit. He's bawling his eyes out. You can tell which the man still did a backflip. The man did a backflip as he is literally imploding, which is incredible. But his first words were, I blew it. And so the pressure of the Olympics really got to him, and I would say that he choked. And so I want to have a discussion right now on the pod of what we talked, and I want to come up with our top 4 choking performances. We landed on 3 apiece, and we differed on the last one. And
I just want to add one thing on the
it.
Elia thing. I will say, like, at that age, I cannot imagine training for something for that many years. You get one shot at it. And you could almost even think that he's so talented that his routine sets him up to fail. If he had a lesser degree of difficulty on that and just skated clean, he's probably still the gold medalist.
Yep.
But I did look up one thing. His pre-event odds of winning gold.
Minus 800, what?
Negative 10,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Which implies a probability of 99%.
Overwhelming. And he ended
the
up
same odds as Fernando Mendoza being picked first in this upcoming draft.
And he finished 8th?
8th.
Gosh. And so that's why I want to talk about choking, bro. And I Googled what is a sports choke. And this is what Google said as we launch into it. In sports, choking is the phenomena where an athlete or team fails to perform significantly below their expected ability during a high-pressure situation. It isn't just a simple mistake or a bad day. It is specifically a psychological collapse where the stress of the moment overrides physical skill. Key characteristics to qualify as a choke, 3 criteria. High stakes, a significant lead or advantage blown, or an uncharacteristic drop in skill. And that sets the table for us to talk about our top 4 chokes in sports history that we've seen with our own eyes. We're not going Greg Norman.
Your grandfather's choke moment that he saw a guy crumble.
Yeah, I'm going with our own eyes, stuff we've seen.
I'll go ahead and lead us off. So
yeah,
I think we're
it.
both on the track with Ilya.
Yep,
right?
100%.
On this list, if not the top of this list.
I would argue he is the top of the list to me. It's the biggest implosion, and I'm not killing the guy. Like I'm not not even a little bit. But it with my own eyes, it's the biggest choke in sports I've seen. I didn't watch the Simone Biles. I didn't see it happen, and you could even argue like hers, but did she give herself the twisties or did it just cut? Like it's a very touchy subject with some people when it comes to her. But Ilya going on that stage at minus 10,000 odds to win.
Yeah.
To me, it's the biggest
self-implosion
in sports history.
I think the other call out there is that when we talked about this a little bit before the pod, like that is a very specific individual effort, right?
Yes.
The other examples that we came up with are team settings.
Oh, I got some individuals, bro. Don't worry.
That's fair. That's
I mean,
fair.
I think you think you have an individual, but it's you're wrong. But I have an individual. Don't worry.
So my one of these that we agreed upon.
Can't wait for this one.
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm a Falcons fan. I think we know exactly where
Falcons
we're
and
going there.
choking. What?
Yeah.
Oh, the regular season game they lost to the Cowboys, right?
28-3.
Woo! How you know it's a huge choke? You don't even have to say. You don't know the sport. You don't have to say what Super Bowl. All you have to say 28-3.
Well,
that
listen,
is
before Mike basks in glory here as a Patriots guy. I'm going to make this very short and simple. I have never gone back to look at the actual output of statistics of this game
until now
to this day, but I did note some things.
Did you do it like you didn't go back even now?
No, I finally went back just to see Brady's line, but I noted some things. We scored first. Falcons scored first.
Yeah,
Falcons,
and second.
Falcons scored second and third.
I'll just ruin it. And third and fourth.
Falcons had a pick six.
Yeah.
Falcons had the advantage in the running game.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that mattered. So I look back at the game. Obviously, everyone's well-versed in the story. It's the inevitable Brady comeback where, some people knew it. We had 2 more touchdowns to score. They knew it was happening. I kind of felt that way as well. It just felt inevitable.
2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions.
The Edelman catch. All this ties into it's just not going to be what it should for the Falcons. The greatest team that I've watched in roster construction in my life. And I looked it up. That 28-3 mark occurred at 3:02 left in the third. The rest of the game, Falcons went 16 plays for 44 yards on offense, 2.75 yards per play. So when you do that against the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, he's going to make you pay. I did not realize that Brady threw the ball 62 times in that game for 466, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Interestingly enough, Matt Ryan, much better quarterback rating. But this was before the overtime rule change. I'm not sure it would have mattered because of the huge momentum swing. That's probably the most impactful thing apart from like skilled on players on the field is the momentum of football. But because of the pre-rule change of overtime, Brady drives down, scores a touchdown, walks it off. Yeah, it hurts my heart to even have to revisit this. And I still get upset at these broadcasters when they bring it up every other game, especially when Brady's calling it. But that is a prime example of a huge choke in sports that I've seen with my
completely
eyes.
agree. There was a 32-point comeback by the Bills over the Oilers, 2 28-point comebacks. One was Andrew Luck coming back against the Chiefs, Alex Smith's Chiefs.
The Colts probably wish he would come back.
Yeah, even though he's super skinny now, bro. And then you have obviously Trevor Lawrence came back, beat Herbert down 27. But this 25-point blown lead, largest obviously in Super Bowl history. I have a text from one of my groomsmen, Caleb Ramon. It's 28-3, and the text still read, "It ain't over yet." And so, as a I am not a Patriots guy. Not a Patriots guy. I am a Tom Brady guy. As a Brady guy, never felt as if it was clearly over. I did go see that Falcons team in person that year. I went to their first Monday night game against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. They beat them 33-32. Freaking awesome game. Matt Ryan won the MVP that year. And I think it really hits the criteria of chokes in all three. It was high stakes. They had a massive lead and advantage, and they had an uncharacteristic drop in skill. But I could make an argument the biggest choke of that game was not by the players on the field, because the last Falcons drive that they had the ball, you're right, they went 18 plays, 44 yards, but it's because there were some sacks and penalties. Devontae Freeman took a 40-yard screen right up the field. As a Tom Brady guy, it's 28-20 late in the fourth quarter. Devontae Freeman screens up the left sidelines, gets about 40 yards. The very next play, I thought it was over. One of the greatest throws and catches I've seen in my entire life, Matt Ryan to Julio on the sidelines. Julio looked like a ballerina. Speaking of figure skating Olympics, Julio Jones was a ballerina catching that ball on the sidelines. But the biggest choke to me was Kyle Shanahan in that game. You're right. The Falcons did have more rushing yards by 2, I believe, 104-102. But if I told you the Atlanta Falcons ran the ball 18 times.
Yeah, they averaged 5.8 a carry.
They ran it 18 times, and they had a 28-0 lead. 28-3. It was 28-3. They ran the ball a total of 18 times. The New England Patriots, who were down 28-3, ran the ball 25 times. The biggest choke of that game was Kyle Shanahan. After the Julio Jones catch, they went holding and then sack. I believe Matt took a sack, dropped him out of field goal range. They kicked the ball back to Brady. The rest, as you just poetically said it, is history. Completely agree. One of the biggest choke jobs in our life that we've ever seen. Met all the criteria. 28-3
for my team. Yeah, we wasted the Julio catch just like we're wasting Bijan so far.
Second one that we agreed. The third one we agreed. Ilya. We agreed 28-3. Third one, the Warriors. 2016, 2017,
2016.
2016
NBA Finals.
Which the Falcons were 2017, back-to-back.
Yep.
2016 NBA Finals, the Warriors 3-1. They were 73-9. The Warriors were 73-9 and blew games 5, 6, and 7 to LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers for LeBron to deliver the Cleveland "This Is For You" championship. Steph Curry in those finals in Game 4 dropped 38. Went crazy. Draymond kicks LeBron in the nuts, calls him the bit, gets suspended. Game 5, Game 6. Game 5 and 6, Curry's stat line looked okay, but it wasn't super impactful. And LeBron and Kyrie both went off 5 and 6, which I'm sure you'll get into. Game 7 is what I want to hit. I've been a Draymond guy since Game 7 of that finals because Dre went the frick off.
He did
Dre was
everything he could.
going crazy from 3, bro.
Yep.
Dude, I remember watching it being like in awe. Just like, what the heck, bro? Draymond's going crazy. Big Draymond guy, big game performer. But Steph, 17 points in Game 7 and had the Kyrie famous 3 over his neck. And so, to me, 3-1 Warriors lead. People blame it on they were tired going 73-9. Nope. Don't want to hear it. You ran through the playoffs that year. You lost 9 games. You are the best team to ever step foot, just like your 07 Pats, which some people might argue might be on the list later. I don't know. And you lost to the Cavs. To me, huge choke job. Warriors 3-1.
Yep, 100% agree. I think the tired narrative comes from the fact that they actually completed their own 3-1 comeback in the conference finals against OKC before KD decided if you can't beat them, join them. Game 5, Draymond Green gets ejected. In the series, he averaged 16.5 points, 10.3 rebounds, 6.3 assists per
Peak
game.
Draymond, don't look at the box score Draymond.
Game 7, he was 32, 15, and 9.
His threes had to be like 5 of 7 from 3.
And that effort alone, he atoned for the ejection.
100%.
If you don't win with that stat line from Draymond, it's not on him. Steph and Klay shot in Game 7 a combined 6 for 24. They lost by 4. 6 for 24, two of the arguably the greatest shooters to ever play in the NBA. You can't shoot 6 for 24 to Game 7 and expect to win.
100%.
And then I put, this, the ripple effects, it collapsed the whole league when KD decided to join up. But,
gosh.
Yeah, I'm with you. Also a big Draymond Green fan myself. Just the tenacity. I love the spirit he plays with. He's a guy that you love on your team and hate on the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Those tend to be my favorite type players. But, yeah, historic collapse. Obviously, some incredible efforts on the other side with the 41-point game for Bron and Kyrie in the same game. And the shot that Kyrie made that, thank goodness for LeBron, he had Kyrie on the team to make the shot. That was kind of the takeaway there. But, yeah, huge collapse after coming off of the record-setting 73-win season.
LeBron's famous block was in that game.
Yeah, so definitely some efforts on the other end, but I think the 6 for 24 kind of spells it out.
100%.
That's the choke.
And it was at home, too. It was in Roracle, and it was a massive collapse. And so, yeah, I definitely agree. We have a football, a basketball, and then I'll go first on the last one, which is right. I have another basketball one. I was, speaking of 2 lifelong friends who started podcasts, I was in your living room when the most famous shot in my lifetime happened with Ray Allen hitting the 3. Bang!
As they're leaving the stadium?
Bro, as LeBron is throwing up brick after brick to end the game, and then Ray hits the game tire, and then LeBron, to his credit, goes on to hit the game clincher in Game 7, play a really good game against San Antonio, get his 3rd ring, I believe. 3rd ring.
Not 1, not 2, not 3.
Yeah, yeah, just 3, bro. And so I am not a LeBron slanderer because I think one of the best performances I've ever seen was the first Warriors-Cavs finals where LeBron's second best player was Matthew Dellavedova. And Bron took them 6 games. That was the young Warriors on the cusp, Steve Kerr's year. They come in, they win the chip. I think the MVP of that final should have been LeBron James in a losing effort because you had Dellavedova was his next player, and we are both J.R. Smith guys, but J.R., that was he's either going to make 33s in a row
Historic
or miss 9,000 shots. And so LeBron was by himself.
I think he was the stat leader that whole series.
Who?
Bron.
Oh, yeah, almost.
Points,
I think every
assists.
category,
Yeah,
points, assists, rebounds. I think he should have won MVP. The 4th biggest choke job I've seen in my lifetime. Coming out of the Ray Allen 3 year, they play the Spurs again. The Heatles get the Spurs again in the finals. Game 1, the game is within 2 points into the 4th quarter, and LeBron James misses the rest of the game for cramping. Now, Michael, choking can't be cramping. Here's the thing. Googled it, confirmed it. I'm sure with your eye test and what you've heard, what I hear, I'm just a casual guy. I have never heard of the man who spends $2 million on his body every single year cramping before or after. To me, it was psychological cramps. I believe the man choked. The Spurs, the Heat were down 2 in that game. LeBron goes out, the Spurs go on a 16-3 run, and then end up winning that finals by a record margin. Bron, a lot of people will point to the Dallas Mavericks series where it's your biggest choke. I can see that because, bro, you're literally passing the ball in Game 5, Game 6. I don't want the ball. To me, you electing, and it's hard because I'm saying that he didn't actually cramp when who knows, only he will ever know what truly happened. But man, the man who spends so much money on his body, the man who I believe is one of the greatest athletes to ever live, in the biggest high stakes moments, you cramped out, and you haven't cramped out before or since. It's hard, bro. To me, that's a hard one to swallow as a sports consumer. And so to me, that finals falls on LeBron's feet. I think that's the fourth biggest choke job I've seen in my life.
Wow.
Lost by a
No
record
relation
margin.
to these underground gambling schemes. Nothing like that. No, I will say I think that's a valid point about the occurrence of that happening ever again. And I think you and I are tainted, man. We're Kobe guys, so like,
Sir.
You hit a free throw with a torn Achilles before you limp off the court. It's a little different. So I think you and I would both probably agree that, and it's an argument that's probably not even valid from my standpoint, but because you're a professional and making millions of dollars. But yeah, I see things even on Sundays where I'm like, that guy's he's out the rest of the game here for a stinger. Like I literally play with those every game, right? And I'm not as valuable as these guys, so I get that point. But in a finals series,
my thing is it's never happened before or since. You could argue, it's because the air conditioning went out in the Spurs arena. I don't know. And so to me, that's one of the biggest. Go ahead, bro. Tell me what you think.
All right, we're gonna ring it in.
What you think it is?
So yeah, we consider this the honorable mention. We couldn't agree to put it on the list, but I've got the 18-1 Patriots, 2007. It's the only NFL team to finish undefeated in the NFL's history is the 72 Dolphins. This was the year for the Patriots to get it done. 17-0, had beaten the Giants the last game of the regular season, albeit a close one.
Mm-hmm.
Come into the Super Bowl, 12.5-point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have some opinions about this. Brady had a chance to do something at the end. If it was Mahomes, I think we'd expect him to. He had 28 seconds, 3 timeouts, and then the main one, and I put it in all caps in my notes, Randy Moss at wide receiver, Mike. And he only needs a field goal to tie it. I think that is based on the criteria of, this really was a bulletproof team all the way through. Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball. One of the best years that they've had statistically on offense, bringing Randy Moss over. And I think this was a choke job. And I'm not saying it's all on Brady. Obviously, they gave up some points as well, and there were some unbelievable efforts. The one that everyone talks about is the helmet catch, which was incredible, crazy. Eli Manning had a ton of like third and forever conversions, it felt like. And that D-line is one of the greatest assembled. So I think there are definitely some things working against them. But the Patriots are the better team. You're not a 12.5-point favorite, not being the better team in the NFL. I think that's a choke job.
I like the key characteristic, high stakes. Sure, high stakes. But with 2 minutes left, the Patriots had the lead. A significant lead or advantage. Patriots never had it that game. You could argue going into the game, they should have had one, being a 12.5-point favorite. And then an uncharacteristic drop in skill. To me, the defense, up until that last drive, held the Giants to 10 points. And then David Tyree happened.
Yeah, but the key is up until.
But I don't know if that's an uncharacteristic drop in skill. And then Tom, again, I don't think an uncharacteristic drop in skill is all the pressure in the world is on you. You've been hammered and destroyed by that defensive line, Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, all game. And with the money on the line, with outside of 28 seconds of Randy, like, dude, Randy Moss is getting quadruple covered with 28 seconds left. But with the defensive line, the whole reason they're in that point is because they couldn't do anything in those 28 seconds.
I think
and so
historic pressure,
with the money on the line, he gave his team the lead.
Yeah.
So I agree. Is it a choke job in the sense of they should have won? Yes. But to me, it's not a performance choke job.
So you're saying it's kind of like Ilya, where he did really well on his first routine, but then the second one he didn't come through.
No, not at all. I think Ilya
because you're arguing
imploded all over himself in the performance, never had a shot in that performance.
But you're
to me, the Patriots had the lead with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, but you could consider that the first routine, right?
No,
you had a chance, and then and then when the pressure mounted at the end,
Tom,
you lost.
I'm on an island here. Again, I am not a Patriots guy. Don't care about the Patriots. I'm a Tom Brady truthist, Tom Brady realist. To me, it doesn't belong on the Mount Rushmore of choking. I'm sure everyone else outside of Tom Brady fans, I'm sure Giselle thinks it's the number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then, I mean, you could argue 2010 was a bad one too. Giselle said, "What's he going to do? Throw it to himself?" And so, if I'm, what's he going to do? Throw and catch?
I do think this is, again, like I pointed out with Ilya, this also it comes with the scrutiny because of the expectation and the ability to do something that will probably never be done again.
I agree.
Unless, Indiana brings their staff to the NFL.
Well, that was a great 8-minute A block that went 40 minutes. But I think it was good. I liked it. I liked it. Biggest choke jobs. Let's switch it up.
All right, so moving into the next one, we'll try to keep these a little shorter and more punchy. Yeah. NBA All-Star Weekend. What are your reactions, overall takeaways from the weekend, things you liked?
Really loved the three-point contest. Thought it was great. Con Knipple representing out there as a young guy, going crazy. Very first one up and dropped a high score that got him into the top 3. Dame not playing all year. Dame showing out. Book going crazy in the first, dropped 30, highest score in the first round. And then as it comes back, I didn't expect Dame to go crazy again. Dame went crazy again. But then Book went nuts, and with 3 balls left, just needed to make 1 to tie, force overtime, 2 to win. Misses all 3. Everybody was shocked. It was crazy. It was fun to watch. Then you had the shooting star, it was the Knicks with all former legends playing. That was really fun. The Knicks guy the dude who was with the Knicks, the legend, hit 4 half-court shots. It was crazy. Super fun to watch. And then I was texting this man because the U.S. versus the world All-Star game Sunday night was pretty incredible. And I was telling you from the jump, I was like, bro, this is competitive. I like watching it. Wemby really set the tone coming into that All-Star game. And to me, I think he definitely cemented that he's the best player in the world. I know it's dumb in an All-Star game where people don't care, but I think he cemented that he's the best in the world because of how easily he can get his points. And, dude, those games were fun, competitive at the end. You had game-winning shots. And to me, the story was Wemby. And then the other, I've heard different people talk about Joker, Nikola, not trying. To me, it looked like he was trying, but Joker's game is not built for that. Joker is much more meticulous, slow, methodical, just not his game. And then I was texting you, Kawhi motherfucking Leonard. That's what I said. Dude, went off, bro. Just absolutely went crazy. It was super fun to watch. Dropped 31 points in a quarter, essentially, against the world, against the best players in the world. And then there was another game where Ant gets a steal, and it was great, man. I really loved it. The NBA needed this coming out of the news week that they had. And so NBA All-Star Weekend, super fun. Really glad that got to watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I know you got to partake in some of this live. I was at our favorite Kroger for the 4th time in 2 days. But I did watch some of this back. Some takeaways from me, Ant and Wemby, both very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's very easy to say. I think that's pretty well understood. Very impressive performances, just physically the way that they play. A few of the tendencies that it seems like Ant's been working on against some of the old heads, if you will. The 3-point contest was cool. Our reference to choking, it's like Booker. I feel like 9 out of 10 he's going to hit at least one. At least. But just couldn't, right? So he had to, yeah. Man, that's a tough one to swallow. Can't catch a win, it seems. Dunk contest. I thought it was okay. That's another one, man. It's like the Olympics.
That's why I
do
didn't
not
mention it.
think I can fully appreciate a dunk contest. I can't dunk. I don't know how difficult this stuff is.
The best thing about the dunk not best thing, the most like exciting, nervous thing was the kid who fell, and I'm like, oh, frick, did he like? I think his hair saved him, bro.
Full reason of why they shouldn't be doing
Richardson. I was like, dang, bro, he almost concussed
so
himself.
I think I went back and watched the winners' dunks, and one of them was awesome. One of them felt, if I could say this, like felt pretty basic at that level at least. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, his dance moves were, pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
he was on one.
And I think it's maybe it's because I was younger and kind of like getting the newness of All-Star Weekend. But I've seen I always go back to Vince Carter, and it feels like nothing can really match that just based on like some of the things he did. Maybe it's just my young eyes looking. Mm-hmm. If I watched today, maybe it'd be less impressive. But yeah, I thought it was okay. They make that look so easy that it just looks normal, basic stuff. I do like the smaller teams and the shorter games format that they've moved to as of late.
Do you think that that's a format you would continue to do?
So I like the smaller teams, the shorter games, because I think if you do the full game, that's where you fall into like someone's giving up a quarter here, giving up a quarter there.
And the issue is, I was texting you all throughout the night saying watch it. You were not watching it, and then so I left after Kawhi's big game. I went on my run because I knew the old heads, which I love how they divided the teams for the U.S. of old, young. I knew the old heads would not care in that last final game, which you said that's the game you finally turned on.
Yeah, watched the blowout. So that was awesome.
Yeah,
but I will say,
I did not watch that
There
one.
were two references that I thought were interesting. I don't really know like the ins and outs of this, but Kawhi and LeBron both referenced, and they didn't come out and say it, but it seemed like they prefer the East-West. But I'm going, hey, maybe instead of the U.S. World thing, you figure out a way to draft smaller teams from East-West, and it's still an East-West thing. But I like the format in its entirety just because the energy is easier to keep it up for shorter games, and you get more moments at the end, right? Like you get more buzzer beater type situations if you need to hit one at the end than you would have you have the one game. So those are my takeaways from All-Star Weekend.
Loved it, man. I thought it was a win that the NBA needed because we want to jump to our next topic. There was stuff in the news cycle that everyone did not think was a win.
To tank or not to tank? Are you building a championship foundation or teaching your locker room how to lose? Today, we're diving into the most controversial strategy in the NBA. Is losing on purpose a genius long-term play or a culture-killing gamble that almost never pays off?
You start.
So on this one, I looked at it from a couple of different perspectives. From an ownership standpoint, and it's funny because Mark Cuban actually came out and had some comments on this. The two teams that had the more recent fines with the Utah and Indiana, for a regular person, it's like, holy cow, they just got fined $500,000. But these are billionaire owners. Yeah. This is
genuinely a $50 ticket for us. If not even
this
that.
Is dinner for us, right? Yeah. So it's like I think the penalizing of the fine, if I'm an owner, I just go, yep, worth it, right? Mm-hmm. If I can drastically improve my team through the draft, which this is expected to be a very deep draft, and it's going to cost me pennies on the dollar, I'm a billionaire. I'll just pay the fine.
So just to jump in, I think there's two different arguments to be had of, is it good? Is tanking good for the individual team, and then is tanking good for the collective, the league? And so on the team level, you're saying yes, it is good.
100%. I think it's such a minimal fee or fine to have to pay to be able to put yourself in a position where you can draft a guy in the very top of the draft. I mean, you think about guys like Luka pops to mind. How many games that you won the year before, what's not worth drafting that guy who's going to be a perennial all-star and, face of the franchise and potentially the league. So yeah, I think from an ownership standpoint, like for the individual team, no brainer.
Which I completely agree. From a individualistic team standpoint, if this is the best way to collect talent, you have to do it. If this is how the rules are set up, a $500,000 fine is literally a slap on the wrist. If that, it's to me that's just the NBA trying to publicly try and save face. If that's the best way to grow a team, have to do it. But I think there's a different conversation when you go as a whole for the product.
Yeah, I think so. I looked into some comments that Mark Cuban made on this because he is very much so
no longer an NBA owner, by the way.
In the
Mark
camp of tank, right? His quote: "NBA should worry more about fan experience than tanking. It should worry more about pricing fans out of the games than tanking." You know who cares the least about tanking? A parent who can't afford to bring their 3 kids to a game and buy their kids jersey of their favorite player. Now, it's hard to argue with that person and that take. What I will say is, not only are you throwing the competitive balance out of whack because you're basically seeding wins to teams that will matter in playoff seeding, but I have a direct counterpoint to Mark Cuban's comment here that if the parent can't afford to bring the 3 kids to the arena and buy the kid's favorite jersey, doesn't matter if that guy's not playing, right? And so, again, I'm a Kobe guy, so I go like, yeah, Kobe tried his best to play as much as he could with the understanding that people are there to see him. I am a guy who would like annually try to scrounge up tickets to a Hawks game to watch Kobe when he'd come to town.
You go to the Hawks to watch the other team.
So I think and I think this is a fun topic. It's very hard to try to solution a way to fix it, but I saw a few ideas that I don't hate. One would be like, instead of fining them.
Did you come up with? So I came up with a solution before hearing anyone ever say it.
Okay, so I have 2 that I saw and one that I think would be.
Do your one that you thought before, and then I'll give my one, and then say the ones that you.
My creative way is that you don't fine these teams. You don't levy a fine against them from the association. You enforce them to
so you let the fans fine them?
No. So you pay the fine, but you pay the fine in regards to free seats.
Oh,
and it captures Mark Cuban's idea. So you go, hey, Utah, $500,000.
You have to pay.
You're going to lose that
in
seat revenue, and you're going to hand out free tickets to people.
That's great,
right? And that's where you can bring like the fan-centric piece back to it, because I think the $500,000 is so insignificant for these owners that they would go like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I think I came up with it's a 30-team league. If you take away the play-in, the playoffs are 8 teams each conference, so 16 total, 14 teams miss the playoffs. To me, an easy way to solve it, which I didn't hear anybody say it till this morning, which I already had it written down before they came up with it, before they said it. I said, if you do not make the playoffs, all 14 teams have an equal opportunity in the lottery. That's what it is. And to me, that will, if you want to tank to ensure that you have a 1 in 14 chance, sure, go ahead. But if you want to be competitive, see how much you can push it, and then still have an opportunity losing in the play-in, I'm great with it. I think that is, and I heard Nick Wright say that this morning, but I thought of that before he said it, and I was like, I think that is one of the easiest ways to say, like, all right, dude, if you want to tank, I can't stop you. I can't. The Spurs broke the system with Pop in 2010, 2011 with Tim Duncan. The system's broken. You can't stop it. And the tanking question, the fiasco, I agree with Cuban, but it's also like, bro, it's going to make me stop caring about your sport as just a casual consumer, as a football guy, because when I'm wanting to take my wife to go watch the Chiefs play and Patrick Mahomes, who are in Nashville, which he got hurt, but if I don't have to worry, is Patrick Mahomes going to be on the field? We bought tickets to go see the Dallas Mavericks versus the Hawks on March 10th. March 7th was honestly the game that I really wanted to see. It was the Sixers, but I was scared to buy the Sixers ticket because I don't know if I'm going to see Embiid or Maxey. And so that's the issue. But it's hard because they did just sign a lucrative $80 billion deal. So to the NBA, it's like, how big of an issue is this? Because our product is still going to be watched. And who cares if people come to the game? It's 82 games a year. So it's an issue, but I don't know if it's one that people care to be solved.
Yeah, I agree. And I think to your point, I think that's a great way to do it is to equally weight it. Because one of the takes that I saw was that you would basically edit the weight of the odd dependent on their activity. And it's so subjective
Yeah.
that you go like, is there really a reason he's sitting out? Is there not? How do you
I'm
judge it?
hearing, do we give
Is it worth
credit for
this many
them
points?
beating the other lottery teams? It's like, bro, that's too much.
Yeah,
Like
so
you're
I like that idea for sure. But yeah, to your point, right? And it's like the Sixers example because that's the NBA. It's like the MLS acquisition of
messy.
Messi. The first game he didn't play. They sold the whole arena out. People are paying crazy amounts. It's like a Taylor Swift concert. And then you watch him
Which I think he
not
pretty
play.
consistently plays now. I think
Yeah, yeah.
he was
But just
literally
like
moving from
an
Europe.
example, though, right there of
Yes,
where
for sure.
you just don't know what you're going to get. But I do think,
Or like, I went to go see Tom Brady. I bought tickets to go see the Falcons in Tampa Bay in Tom's last year. I didn't have to worry that Tom might sit out. And I
so
would have been ticked if
the
he
only
did.
logical thing that makes sense to definitely ensure that these guys are playing games will never happen because of the TV contracts and everything is to reduce the number
Yeah,
of games.
reduce the games.
That's why the NFL is still the prime thing to view. And those are still climbing, right? We're still trying to find ways to add games every year. If you have less opportunities, you tend to want to be involved in them. But I did just note here, and it's not a solve to a problem, but it's basically just saying I think the NBA should look at ways instead of penalizing, they should look at incentivizing. The whole midseason
Parenting right
tournament
there,
thing,
bro. Good
man, is
job.
like, hey, you're gonna get a spanking, or I'm gonna give you some cash, right? And
Yes.
like even the midseason tournament for the main superstars of the league, it's not really a tangible change as far as financials, but it does. They're still in it to help the guys around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the more you can incentivize effort, that's the better way to go about it. But I love the idea of like if you don't make it, you don't make it, and it's an equal shot.
Love it. Anything else on that? Are you ready to go?
No.
Next one. All right, bro. Let's talk NBA. We're going our first real like NBA takes of the year.
Yeah. So take it easy on me because I'm not fully into the NBA cycle yet. But coming out of All Star Weekend, we're going to draft our 4 teams that we have in our championship pie. So basically, what we're saying here is we are going to select teams that we have as potential championship winners.
Yep.
Cannot select the same team. You want to bounce back and forth here?
Yeah. Well, we'll go rock, paper, scissors and see who gets to go first. It's because you're going to take the Spurs probably, right? All right, let's go.
The Hawk? No. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, scissors. I go first.
All right.
Let's go, baby. So this game, so again, I'm picking 4 teams that are going to be my team. That means if they make the playoffs, I'm picking one of these teams to at least win the championship. You don't get to pick them as long as some of your teams are in it. And it's a gamble of am I going to go chalk? Am I going to get some of my sleeper teams I like? I'm going to go with a team that I believe in, but a lot of people are a little down on right now. I think they're 4th in the East. Hold on, let me look at it. I'm just telling you right now, I am going with the New York Knickerbockers. They are 3rd in the East right now, 1 game back of the Jason Tatumless Boston Celtics. They're 35-20. A lot of people are a little down on the Knicks this year because they're not really performing up to their capabilities. You got the new coach, this and the other. The reason why I believe in the Knicks and why I believe they haven't won the chip or been in the finals the last 2 years, injuries. And let me tell you what's not super happy. Outside of OG Anunoby, who just had its toenail ripped off, no soft tissue injuries yet this year. And so I am, with no Tibbs, give me the Knicks. I believe in Brunson in the playoffs. Believing in Cat is a little, but I do think Cat cares. And so I'm riding with the Knicks. I like Brunson. I like Cat. I like OG. I think the different people around, they have great situational defense and offense. It's a miss because a lot of people would go, okay, I'm giving you OKC. I'm giving you the Spurs. I'm giving you other people. I'm going with the Knicks in a watered down Eastern Conference as well. Give me the Knicks. I get them.
I like to take on the sole fact that it seems that Cat's not annoying to anyone on this team like he has been at previous stops. That's a win. Yeah, I appreciate it. Layup. OKC. SGA and the boys. I'm not really going to elaborate too much on that. I mean, this is like they've got all the right pieces. They've got all the right guys playing defense at the right spots. They've got all the scoring that they need. Shea is a walking bucket. They have great team chemistry, it seems. I think that's a shoe-in. So, yeah, I appreciate you going the more obscure route.
Are you worried about OKC? No, J-Dub is hurt again. They started at a record pace. Everyone thought that they were just going to blow the league out, and now the Spurs are creeping up on them. Are you worried at all about that as we get closer to the playoffs?
I'm not worried. I think SGA is maybe behind Joker, in my opinion, probably the most consistent player in the NBA. It's just this is not a team I'd bet against. Now, if everyone gets injured, that's a different story. But as long as Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's out there, this team's got a shot.
See, and I didn't take them because in the last several years, no repeats. Since the KD Steph Warriors, no repeats. In this era of basketball, it seems like the defending champ looks good to start the year and then kind of falls off. I'll give you OKC. And I'm going to give you a couple more chalks because I'm going weird. I'm going weird, these four. Give me the Detroit Pistons. You don't get them.
The bad
I
boy
get
Pistons?
the Pistons, baby. Cade Cunningham, an Oklahoma State Cowboy, looking good. They look like they just are ready to fight anybody and everybody. Bickerstaff fired by the Cavs immediately. Couldn't even cough before he gets hired by the Pistons. Leading the Eastern Conference right now. I think it's going to be tough to go into Detroit and win. They lead the league in steals and blocks per game. Bringing back the bad boy Pistons, I get Detroit. Let's go. I got Detroit and the Knicks.
Man, now you got me thinking I should go.
No, you go chalk, bro. Go ahead. Take Denver. Take Denver. Or no, take San Antonio. Do it.
I'll take Boston.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll take Boston. Jaylen Brown, local Georgia kid. I'll take him. I'll take Derek White, and I'll cross my fingers and my toes. And we'll see if
Tatum doesn't come back, right?
We'll see if Tatum shows up.
But Jaylen just put out a tweet putting the side-by-sides of the records saying, like, they might be – some people are saying Jaylen's saying we're better without him.
Well, yeah, Jaylen wants to be the guy. I do not think they're better without him, regardless of what the statistics show. In the playoffs, Tatum's another guy that gives you a mismatch somewhere on the court. It's going to be easier to win a game with him on the court. If he gets back to the playoffs, that's like the dark horse of getting back to full steam. Now, whether that will actually be full steam is to be seen. But, yeah, give me the Celtics.
Right.
Even without Tatum, I think in the East can make some noise.
I'm going to take them. I have a team in front of them, but I'm taking them before you can. Give me the Lakers. Give me the everyone's dogging the Lakers right now. You have Luka and LeBron. Luka has best player in the world potential. I've seen him in the playoff. The man goes crazy. LeBron, arguably, is the best player in the world for spurts still at 41 years old. And they are only 7 games out of first. It's like, dude, as long as they're a top 4 seed, they get to avoid Denver. And they avoid OKC. They avoid San Antonio. Now, the issue is they might get another team that might be on my championship pie, if you want to, which I don't think you will. But there is a matchup that I'm a little worried about with the Lakers. But Luka, LeBron, I like Ayton. I think JJ can get Ayton in the right spots. Rui Hachimura, really good. Austin Reeves has been hurt early in the year, can come back, can give you a 25-point-a-game guy. Give me the Lakers. I get the Lakers in our championship pie. Everyone's going to be like, y'all are idiots. What are you doing? Denver's on the board.
Lakers
San
was on my
Antonio.
selection.
What are we doing?
Part of my
So go ahead.
selection.
They were? The Lakers were going to be one?
They were
Yes.
going to be one of mine.
Yes.
All right, I'll take another layup.
I get to root for the Lakers.
The Nuggets.
Go ahead, bro. So now you got OKC, Boston, and Denver.
Yep, and I think, again, this isn't a super rocket
Is it the last
science
3 champs?
experiment
Are
here.
those the last 3 champs?
Joker and Jamal, both of those guys have the ability to really take over for not even just games at a time, but at a series at a time. Aaron Gordon is a lot to handle. With those premier guys, I think the pieces around them kind of fit a little bit more naturally, a la the Warriors when they had some guys step up in roles. So I think the Nuggets is a no-brainer as a team that's definitely a part of that championship conversation. And to your point, yeah, they've got the DNA, right? They've done it. So, and they've done it with with a lot of guys on the roster.
I like it. Jamal Murray goes crazy in the playoffs when he's out there. Denver didn't fall off with Jokic being hurt, so that definitely puts him in a position to strike. And I'll tell you why I'm not picking San Antonio. I think Wemby is still too scrawny, bro. Not scrawny is obviously the man you have to look. I think in the playoffs, if the Spurs play the Lakers in the playoffs, you best believe Braun and Luka are going downhill at that man every single time. Like we talked about the last podcast, biggest difference in NBA regular season, postseason, the officiating. And I think that the pieces around them, NBA is definitely a sport where there's steps, there's progression, linear progression to winning. And so I think it's a very young team. I think Wemby could get tore up on the block. And so I'm not going Spurs. I am going the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Ooh.
I think Anthony Edwards has best player in the world potential. Anthony Edwards can take over series. That team has been, I think, back-to-back conference championships, if I'm not mistaken. They've taken out likes of the Warriors. They've beaten the Lakers last year convincingly. Their defense can lock in. Ant can take over. Give me the Timberwolves as the fourth team in my championship pie. Knicks, Pistons, Lakers, Timberwolves. No chalk here on the sideline theory, baby.
You're going to love this one.
Oh, you're going Charlotte. LaMelo? Big baller brand?
Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. You're serious?
Are taking a severe nosedive, which is why they'll not be on this list. My fourth and final team to keep this, a couple East, couple West, just to keep my options open.
Listen, I got 2 East, 2 West.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
They were on my list. I picked them to win it all last year. I was wrong. I got a little scar tissue from them, but I like it.
I like the Harden acquisition. I think even more than you did when it first happened. I really love the bigs and Mobley and Jared Allen. Those two alone with Donovan Mitchell, if they're playing in sync and playing well, I think it's a tough hurdle to get over for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there are some matchups in the West specifically where the bigs, it's not a great matchup for them. But I like them. I like the continuity of the roster and bringing a guy in like Harden who hasn't been to the mountaintop but does have some experience with other teams getting close.
Yeah.
And with that style, with the big, right? You think of his early OKC
Mobley,
days.
Or no, who are you talking about?
When Harden's in OKC early on in his
yeah.
career, they have similar model to those type bigs where I think he'll be comfortable maneuvering, playing around them, getting comfortable, and I think that's a team that can make a run. And that's without even mentioning Donovan Mitchell. So
Spider.
Those are my 4. I've got the Thunder, the Celtics, the Cavs, the Nuggets. 4 that I'm riding with.
Let's go, baby. Let's jump back to the league.
The league. All right, next segment here, we're talking about 5 teams that we have on the rise in the NFL and then 5 that we think will be in decline into this next season.
You go with your 5 on the rise.
And I'll kick us off with on the rise. So
just hit all your 5, and I'll do my 5.
Hitting them quick with a couple, thought or two about why. Number 1 on my list, the Falcons.
Oh,
I'm a true homer. This Falcons team, I guess, broken record time. They've got all the right pieces at skill positions on the offense. If we can figure any kind of semblance out at quarterback, if we can
who is your quarterback?
Who's
this? Like, what's the answer? Are you Kirk? Are you Penix? Or are you somebody else?
I think we got to bring in Stetson Bennett. Bring him back home. No. Between the two, man, I mean, Kirk has just played so poorly, but Penix, I just don't know if Penix can do it. He's just hurt.
So who's your week 1 starter? Kirk?
Week 1 starter, Malik Willis.
Ooh, so okay.
But yeah, young core skill guys, inspired defense. If the Falcons can put some points on the
violent
board,
defense,
I think the defense steps up and makes everything interesting. We're in a division that leads itself towards being more winnable than others.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to capitalize early because the other guys seem to all have quarterbacks in place. The next team on the list here for the teams on the rise, I have the Giants. Right? Quarterback, you got Neighbors coming back. We got the the occurrence of Scatterboom, whatever that entails.
Scatterboom.
But you got the new coaching structure in place. I think that I think Harbaugh will be able to get the most out of that locker room and really bring in the right guys to help develop the young talent that they have. From a defensive standpoint, they've got a lot of very talented pieces that I think could get scary if you ever can be up in a game. And then Jackson Dart, I think, is out of the young quarterbacks, maybe has the most it factor outside of Caleb Williams. So I've got the Giants second on my list. The third on the list, the Browns. We've covered this already. I made the case here. Winnable division, great defensive unit, an offensive mind that I think can maximize the players on that side of the ball. Potential elite running back and tight end, young guys, but already climbing in the ranks. Mike's giving me a very uninspired look here. Big Browns fan while he's got his Ravens gear on. But we'll see.
How many minutes do we have to talk about the Cleveland Browns on this show?
That's fair.
Oh my
We can do another. No, we'll move on. Next team I have on my list.
You like them, stand by them. That's okay.
I like them. I like seeing Myles Garrett at the Olympics. So what? We'll see. I just did the Shador flex for you guys that can't see. Next team on my list, I've got the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, sir.
A ton of cap room for free agency decisions. I put one, if not the best, combination of coordinators in the NFL. I truly believe this combination of coordinators, not head coaching ability, but just coordinating units on the offensive and defensive side, and Saleh and Dable, I think it could be scary for the guys that have to play a quarterback as talented as he is in the system with Dable calling plays. So we'll see, right? The fact that they do have a young, cheap quarterback with a ton of upside. And I think if you capitalize in free agency, I think that's where you can really make things shift and make a run at it. So the Titans, the fourth on my list. The fifth is kind of, I think it's a layup in my opinion.
Falcons again.
They had a bad year. I'm going Detroit.
Ooh.
I think they're going to rebound based on how they lost and when they lost. Their schedule outlook is actually going to be much weaker, similar to the Patriots this year. I think that puts them in a good spot. They've got all the right pieces, the same pieces they had in the deep run. And maybe Dan Campbell will listen to a few of our segments on kicking it. But I got Detroit.
Love that pick.
Based on how they finished this year.
Love that one, Detroit. On Rising, I'm going to stick with you, man, because my very first one is the Falcons. I got the Falcons, and it's because of a point that you didn't mention in your soliloquy. They hired Kevin Stefanski, who is Pro Football Focus just rated him a top 3 or top 2 head coaching hire in the cycle. And so your Browns getting rid of him, it was a no-brainer for Stefanski to come to Atlanta.
Rise up.
I think he's going to, in a dome, in that division, I really think that he's going to be able to utilize Bijan, choose the right option between Kirk and Penix or someone else. And I think the Falcons are going to rise within that division and definitely go trajectory up. The second one is going to be interesting because I picked the Falcons. One, I like the New Orleans Saints for next year. Tyler Shuck from Louisville, watched him at Louisville. He was balling, man. It diced up Miami when they played. Scored almost 40 on, but granted, Miami's defense was terrible.
Second favorite Louisville quarterback I've ever seen.
Behind this guy. I think that Kellen Moore, he's the winningest FBS quarterback of all time. I don't think Bo Nix took that from him. I think Kellen still has it. He's top 2 and has really proven to be a good play caller. Was good with the Cowboys. Went to the Chargers, had an off year, but then won the Super Bowl with the Eagles down in New Orleans now. Division super winnable. It's a weird place to go play in that Mercedes Dome. And so I like New Orleans, like what I'm seeing from them. Third, it's like Michael, they've already won 12 games. How are they going to go higher? Big Bears guy, Chicago Bears. One name, Caleb Williams. High on the Bears. Love what they're doing. Really think Ben Johnson is instilling a winning culture in that program. Think that it's a tough place to go play in Chicago. Caleb Williams can throw it 60 yards down the field on a rope in frozen weather. So love the Bears there.
Can we get DJ Moore to attack a ball?
He doesn't
Maybe
need to.
maybe it was cramping.
When
I don't know.
Caleb's dotting it, you don't necessarily have to. And then I'm gonna go Raiders 4, and this is just on the rise. They could go from what 3
Yeah,
wins
it's
to
because they're
5
so
wins.
bad.
And so I like Mendoza, man. I think he's tall, which really, from a quarterback's perspective, you want to be able to see over the line of scrimmage. He really does have the prettiest back shoulder throw I've seen since Aaron.
They're worried about hand size, though. The chalk he uses to get grip on the ball. We'll see.
This is all the fun stuff that comes out before the draft.
Yeah.
I like the Raiders. Are you team trade Max Crosby or no?
No, I think you got to see if this quarterback thing works out because you've got pieces now.
I would trade Max easy. I think that he's
I'm
a D end who's getting close to his 30s, if not in his 30s. And I just watched TJ Watt. TJ doesn't have that same takeover ability. And it's like, I think Max has a body. I would trade him now at the highest value and get young first-round picks and try to surround
I'll edit
and
my
build it up.
take. It depends what you can get.
Sure.
I just don't know if you're going to return.
I think what I've heard is Chicago's offering DJ Moore and a first-round pick for Max Crosby. If I'm the Raiders, I almost take it to get. And the
only thing I could say is like with the new people in place, they probably go like, "Hey, we can draft our way out of this. We'll keep the guy that we have there because Clint Kubiak's thinking I can make this work with a quarterback and an elite tight end and a potentially elite running back." Like, I could see that being a driving factor of like, let's just try it one more year and then we can try to move off. To your point, the age thing comes into play, but it's also hard to land a guy like Max Crosby. So
sure, and I like that Brady's there. I think that he could help stabilize the organization. Last one, I won't belabor. I'm going Tennessee as well. I really loved Saleh with Dayball, and obviously we're both huge Cam Ward guys. Being from, he had a great season at the University of Miami. I'm hoping, man, that they're drafting 3rd overall. I hope CC Mawinoa falls to them. If not, I'm totally fine with them taking Sanu from Utah, offensive tackle, who people have him rated around 7 to 10. But I just think that position is crucial. You got to keep Cam upright. Can't get him hurt. And a lot of talks is they might go David Bailey from Texas Tech. I'm praying that they go offensive lineman. Tennessee. 5 on the decline. I'll go quick. Number 1 team on the decline for me, the New York Giants. Everybody is going high on the Giants. You heard it on the pod. Brandon said it here. I've said it, been very consistent. Harbaugh was getting fired before Lamar took over. Harbaugh was getting fired before Lamar went 2 MVPs and went crazy. He got lucky getting Lamar as the last pick of the draft. And you could argue that's the organization. Harbaugh had not done anything. He's a special teams guy. And it's like, he's going into New York. Yeah, sure, he's going to build a culture. But what are you going to do, in my opinion? You got Malik hurt. You got Scadaboo hurt. Jackson seems like he gets concussed every other game. And then I just don't know what he brings to the table other than culture. We just saw it with the Lions with Campbell. If you're only bringing culture, it's not going to go that far. And so I'm down. I don't think the Giants make the playoffs. I think that they have potential to be the worst team in the league next year. And that's a lot of people are going make the playoffs. I would lean worst team in the league over make the playoffs. And then the next team, I have the Ravens, as I'm wearing his jersey. I do not love the Minter hire. I just don't. I don't think that it is I think they're staying in the Harbaugh family to keep some consistency, congruency. I know it's hard for NFL owners to make big swings, especially with an organization like Baltimore that's been pretty consistent. But I just see them nosediving. I think Lamar, we both agree Lamar's lost a step. It's hard to watch him and not think Lamar's lost a step. Derrick Henry, how long can he be great? I don't know. And so I'm down on the Ravens. 3rd, I'm going Vikings, JJ McCarthy. Enough said. The 4th, Michael, how does this team get any worse? I'll tell you, I think they should have fired the head coach. I said it after week 1. Terrible hire. Everyone was high on it. I think it was a terrible hire. I think the Jets are on the decline. The Jets are on the decline, and they're talking about taking Arvell Reese, number 2 overall, the linebacker from Ohio State. I think it's an awful organizational pick. I just do. Great job. He looks awesome. I will say as well, and again, can the guy come in here and beat me up with one pinky? Sure. I watched the Miami Hurricanes bludgeon that Ohio State line over and over and over again. I don't think he's worth the number 2 overall pick. And even if he is, congratulations. You
I
got
don't think he's the best player on his defense at Ohio
Sonny
State.
Styles, Caleb Downs,
So,
who might come up later in this podcast. But
that's a prototypical NFL pick for potential.
and it's like, congratulations. You got Myles Garrett. Your team's going to be terrible forever. And the last one, I'm going the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about the Browns more in this pod. I got the Browns as a team on the decline. The organization is inept. They got rid of Baker Mayfield after they finally won a playoff game. They had momentum, and they fire Kevin Stefanski, who is rated in the top 3 for Pro Football Focus for football coaches this cycle. And they bring in your guy, Todd Monken, who won back-to-back Georgia Natties. Good luck, man. Good luck in Cleveland. I've tried to be a Cleveland guy before. It's rough. You can have Cleveland this year. 5 teams on the decline.
Awesome. Yeah, not much to argue about there except for the couple that I had on the rise. And then the only caveat to the Giants is, like, you're so bad last year, you got to be rising. My 5 on the decline. First team here is the Dolphins.
Okay.
No quarterback, no Tyreek Hill. Good luck. I know your running back's good. Good luck. My next team on the decline, the Niners. I think the loss of Saleh is a much bigger deal than people think. They've got a couple guys that'll make free agency decisions. But I think the biggest indication of the fall here is Saleh coordinated the defense. I think there's a distinct difference when he's there and when he's not. So I think that's second on my list for teams that will be on the decline, especially considering that power plant's still there. So who knows who's going to be playing in these games. Next team here, this is kind of a product of their own success, Patriots. The schedule is going to be more difficult. I think potentially having to extend Christian Gonzalez this offseason is going to put you in binds in other spots of who you can pay and how and when. And I think it was their time to strike, and they didn't. And I'll be curious to see how Drake May responds coming into year 3 after really a few bad performances in the playoff.
I mean, a lot of people can make an argument that their defense played even better than the Seattle defense.
Well, we won't get into that. But, yeah, I do think, like I said, this is more a product of their success this year, that it's a regression, not that they'll be last in the league. Next team, similar caveat. This won't be popular. The Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
They lose their coordinator. They've got a ton of guys on key defensive players that they're going to have to try to retain in free agency. They're not tagging the Super Bowl MVP. He'll be an unrestricted free agent.
Jason Myers is unrestricted.
So we'll see how it goes.
Kenneth Walker, everybody.
And I think, again, like a linear regression makes sense here from winning the Super Bowl to potentially missing some of the pieces on defense.
And before people come at you, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. The whole talk the entire offseason was the Eagles were going to go on a dynastic run and be this unbelievable team. The one change that really happened, they lost their offensive coordinator. Seattle, everyone's saying they're about to go on this dynastic run. I think ESPN just rated them the top team to be at the next dynasty. They just lost their offensive coordinator. Like Brandon said, they have key free agents pieces. Hard to repeat, hard to get up and work that hard when you're sleeping in silk sheets, like the famous boxer used to say. And so they're the champs. It is hard to repeat in the NFL. So I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, other than a Super Bowl win, it's a decline. So
yeah, so I think it's kind of a shoe in there. Yeah, and the fact that I would argue
spoiler alert, bro. You're not picking
those
Seattle?
Eagles defense, in my opinion, are even better than what we saw from them. So I think they're my 4th team on the list to decline. My last team on the list here for a decline in next year's performance. This is for Caleb Ramon.
Oh,
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. It's solely based on the fact that Patrick Queen is gone. I'm kidding. It's just not much to be excited about, which kind of sucks to say about a team that may still get Aaron Rodgers back. He's old. It's not a good play. It's not a good system. It's not a good. I think Mike McCarthy signed up for maybe one of the most challenging jobs as far as like personnel of what you're really working with. Your best player, I could argue, well, probably your best player on offense is inconsistent. You don't really know what you're going to get. I don't love their situation. And because of my projections for the Browns and that I'm still a Lamar guy, I'll take the Steelers to fall in the division. So they're my number 5. So yeah, I've got the Dolphins, Niners, Patriots, Seahawks, and Steelers for my on the decline teams moving into next season.
And talk NFL in February. But
absolutely,
the draft is coming up.
Yeah, so NFL draft coming up. Well, we're going to focus on 3 overall players to prioritize. This can kind of be, your own personal take on this. Doesn't necessarily have to be team fit or overall ranking. Just 3 players that you're prioritizing coming into the draft.
You want to go first on this?
Yeah, I can go ahead and kick us off here. There's some personal bias here. I'll go ahead and say that at the beginning. Reuben Bain.
Oh, yeah.
Regarded as one of the top prospects in the draft. I know he's got short arms. I just loved everything I saw from him. He seemed to perform at the highest level in the highest moments. He was very steady, not a really emotional guy, older guy. I really like that. It's kind of the counter.
His hairline screams older.
It's kind of the counter argument to, he's kind of the same boat as what we reference about
Kenneth.
Yeah, you're not ugly, you're just poor. So I think he's a very interesting pick. We'll see where he lands. And I like him for all the reasons I don't love Arvell Reese. Right? That's the type of guy, and part of that is my own personal bias of like, those are the guys I like to be teammates with. He's very steady. You know what you're going to get. I imagine he's consistent in every aspect of that program, from the weight room to the practice field to the game field. So I'm very intrigued to see where he ends up and what he can do in the NFL. And I think he'll perform better than some people are giving him credit for. My next player here is Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles, excellent player. One of the best linebackers I've watched this season in the entire atmosphere of college football. Caleb Downs is special. I think he can do so much. If you look at all the guys in the NFL right now that are big time guys that are making splash plays out of safety position, he does everything they can do, and I could argue he's going to be able to do it better. He's not scared to play run support and smoke you. He can match up in man-to-man. He's also a local guy, played down the road at Mill Creek. Saw him in person when they played Buford. This guy looked – the only way I could describe him is an NCAA 10 years ago when we used to make creative players. That was him. So very, very interested to see where he will land. I do think this is a luxury pick wherever he lands. You're probably not going safety unless you can afford to do that in the top 10 where he's projected. But very, very interested to see how he pans out. The next one, I was torn between 2 guys. And I'll tell you the one I didn't take. Jeremiah Love, I didn't take. I think we'll see how – it depends where he ends up being drafted. I do like the mocks that I've seen where he ends up in Kansas City. I think that's very intriguing. They can't seem to land like a true stud at running back. I know Pacheco's serviceable, runs hard, but like a true
he hasn't been the same since he broke his leg.
But I'd be very interested to see, other than having to watch the Chiefs, potentially revamp a dynasty when they pick up Tyreek and him this offseason. But I'll go Ty Simpson. Quarterback from Alabama. I think one of the top guys by the time it's all said and done as far as quarterback play. Again, I think it's just he almost seems like quirky and awkward in his interviews. Not quite Mendoza level but he's a guy that I think is going to be easy for guys around him to play for. And I think because of his consistent energy and his consistent optimism, I think it's a lot of speaking into existence what's going to happen.
So are you taking him at 13 for the Rams?
I wouldn't hate that. You get put in a spot where you can be developed. You still got a year or 2 or 5, depending on how that pans out at quarterback with Stafford. But he's not going to be a problem. He'll sit in the back seat and wait, and he'll learn. So I really like the pick. I was inspired watching some of just like the effort and toughness from him at Bama. I'm not a Bama fan, but was impressed with him throughout the season. And I think there's something to be said. Like, we're Miami guys. He was a rumored guy to pick up late, kind of how we landed Beck last year where he declared and then we pulled him out because we wanted to pay him a ton. I kind of like that he's like, nah, I'm an Alabama guy. Like, I like that loyalty. So.
An Alabama guy, and he was pretty confirmed he's going first-round draft pick.
That's
so
fair,
it's hard to turn down first-round draft pick.
That's fair, but you could collect some cash in college and potentially even go higher. So I just like that about him. So I'm intrigued to see where he lands and what his career looks like.
I'll go the other obvious QB for my top three. I'm going Fernando. I really like I think he throws a beautiful back shoulder, and I think his RPO selections are really well. A lot of people are saying Jared Goff. I think he moves a lot better than Goff. I've heard people come out and say, "Oh, he's stiff or he might be slower," but the eye test, he looks athletic. He's clutch. I saw him be clutch in multiple moments, unfortunately, as Miami fans.
Torn. Yeah.
The Penn State final drive. I mean, the dude can rip a seam ball, hit a back shoulder, and he doesn't miss the easy dumps. And so I think Fernando can help change the trajectory of the Raiders. And I think he's a guy that if the Raiders are 1-16 next year, he'll be fine. To me, he has a body type that I think he can get beat up. I saw him take a beating against Miami and kept getting back up and delivered when he had to in the fourth quarter. And so I really like Fernando. I think he's a good pick for a Raiders franchise that really needs an adult in the room. I'm going to go second player that I would...
Real quick on that, just
go
hilarious. I don't know if you saw this, but there was the interview about where he's working out in preparation for the draft. Cignetti has kicked him out of the facilities, so he's working out at a Planet Fitness now.
That's so funny because Cignetti's going hard of we're moved on to next year. That's so funny.
So sorry, didn't mean to.
And no free weights at Planet Fitness, bro.
Good luck.
To the number one position as a top 10 team. I've said it 100,000 times. I'm going to say it 500 million times on this podcast. Offensive line, the best offensive lineman is CeCe Mawinoa. CeCe Mawinoa is going to be a stalwart for any franchise that takes him. The Jets are going to take Arvell Reese, number 2, and I just think it is the most asinine decision when you have CeCe Mawinoa right there. Again, Kyle Pitts was taken. I bet you the Falcons wish they had Penei Sewell. 4 of the 5 Seattle offensive linemen who just won the Super Bowl were taken in the last 3 years. 3 of them first-round draft picks. You have to go offensive line in this position. CeCe Mawinoa is the best one in the draft, best one available. He's going to be, and for everything Will Campbell got, Will Campbell still was a starter in the Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. He will be on that offensive line, regardless position, for the next 10 to 15 years. You have to take CeCe, in my opinion, if you are the Jets. And the last pick, I agree with Brandon, Caleb Downs. He's the best. He is the best football player in the draft. He can play any position. I do agree that it is a luxury pick. I'm seeing that your Giants might take him number 9. I think that is a mistake for them. Will he be great? Yes. But will he be great in a losing effort? Yes. And I don't love that. Unfortunately, if you're in the top 10, you have key missing elements that require you to win football games. And if you take the wrong one, you will continue to lose football games. And so I think Caleb Downs is the best player in the draft. But if you are in the top 10, you cannot draft him. And that stinks, but it is a luxury that you are not afforded. And so I think Caleb has the potential to be finally we get the full coming of Sean Taylor. I really love Sean Taylor coming out. Everyone said that he had potential to be one of the best football players to ever live. They don't do the Pro Bowl game anymore because Sean Taylor destroyed that fake punter. Sean Taylor from the U, RIP. I think Caleb Downs finally has a chance to step in. To me, he is a more athletic Kyle Hamilton and just a smart football player. Just smart. He started at Bama, everybody. Sure, he went to Mill Creek, could have went to Buford, but it's beside the point. Did they win the championship his year then? Yeah, there you go. So he's a winner, went to Bama, chose to go to Ohio State, still was a winner. I think Caleb Downs is the best player. Here's just a site. With the Jets taking Arvell Reese number 2, do you think Myles Garrett was the right pick for the Browns in 2017? He went number 1 overall. If the Browns had to do Myles Garrett again, and I know you can look up the draft. I do not believe Myles Garrett was the right pick for the Browns at number 1 overall. He just broke the sack record. I understand it. The first offensive. Now there was Mahomes in that draft. That draft full of a lot of skill players, quarterbacks taken. Mitchell Trubisky went 2.
Yeah, looking at this draft, I'll answer. I think you do take him.
I would not. To me, and I'm not saying this guy deserved to go number 1 overall, but the first offensive lineman taken off the board was Garrett Broyles, 20 by Denver. Guess what? He was just the 2025 All-Pro tackle and led and helped lead the Denver Broncos to the number 1 seed overall. Myles Garrett was the number 1 overall pick. Yes, defense wins championships. But you have to get there to win the championship. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships. When you take an Arvell Reese, you take a Myles Garrett, you're pigeonholing yourself to just have a solid defense, but you will not make the playoffs. You will not move on and win the championship. Yes, the Browns did do that. The Browns did make the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco. But that's why I will not pick them on the rise, because I think they're an inept organization that got rid of their offensive coach and their quarterback. And do I think that they got unlucky with the Deshaun thing? 100%. But I just, when it comes to these defensive players, Jadeveon Clowney to the Texans was great, went number 1. But worthless pick, a worthless number 1 overall pick. Take the guy. Unfortunately, football is a boring sport when you come down to winning the championship. You have to go offensive line. You just do. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Honestly, I think it's less of a problem of drafting Myles Garrett. It's more of a problem that you couldn't figure out quarterback.
Sure.
Right? I mean, you took Baker number 1 overall the next season, the next draft. So if you hit that pick, if Baker is Baker
you
now,
could argue he did. Then, he still won a playoff game for them.
Yeah. All I'm
and
saying
then was hurt the next year.
Yeah.
And that organization imploded it.
That's all fair. I think in that moment, though, you're also watching like Watt come off of seasons where he's like getting MVP votes, so you probably think the upside of that pick is still there. I mean,
Watt was in that draft. Watt was 28.
I can't argue because
2017
because it hasn't worked out. But
I just don't know of a big time.
I'm referencing JJ, not TJ.
Oh, okay.
Right. So like you see that in the few years before this draft, you go, okay. And maybe you don't peg someone as like a generational type guy in this draft.
Maybe I'm off the top of my head.
Which is crazy to say because McCaffrey and Mahomes are sitting here. But, yeah, easier to say in hindsight.
Taking the star-studded defensive player in the top 3 when you don't have an offensive line is utterly ridiculous. I don't know of a situation when it worked out. I'm sure somebody in the comments could let me know. But, man, you have to go boring offensive line. You just do.
Yeah. You got to be the Cowboys when they took 6 straight first-round picks at O-line. And had the best O-line in the NFL.
Dude, let's you want to hit the last one?
Yeah, we'll hit the last one. Weekly segment here, athletic feat of the week.
Woo-hoo.
I'll go ahead and hit mine quickly. I'm not going to hold you here long. Jordan Stolz, 500-meter speed skating Olympic record, 33.77 seconds.
Yeah, broke the Olympic
second
record.
Gold at the 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics. So yeah, second gold medal. Also holds the Olympic record now for the 500-meter. The guy that took second, it was kind of like if you were to beat Jordan, this was going to be the event. This is the only one.
And I think that guy broke the Olympic record too, but lost
the record.
Like
and ended up with silver.
You're Phil Mickelson born with Tiger Woods, bro.
Exactly. So that is my you're Josh Allen with Pat Mahomes. So that is my athletic feat of the week, Jordan Stolz, and we'll see how he finishes up. I think, like I said, he's got 2 more attempts at some other medals, so we'll see.
My athletic feat of the week as well is an Olympian from a week and a half ago, one of the first events, the women's 3,000 meter in skating. A woman named Francesca Labalinka won Olympic gold at the age of 35. She had her 3-year-old baby in the stands. No one picked this Italian woman to win. It was kind of like, again, the Netherlands have dominated that sport, and we watched her, and she was not winning up until the last 500 meters of the 3,000 meter, and she just ran away with the competition because she pushed. And my wife was watching, and my wife was like, "That is women power right there," because she knew, man, she's had a kid. She has pushed herself. She knows she can fight through pain. And so Francesca Labalenka won the gold, first gold medal for Italy of the Olympics, first gold medal for Italy in that event. And she went on to win, I believe, the 2000 as well, or the one she won another individual gold medal after this. So Francesca Labalenka, get a shout out here, Sideline Theory. Great job. You inspired my wife. She wants to be like you. So
That's awesome.
there we go.
Yeah, I think we'll as the Olympics move on, we might have some more features in the following episodes about some of these feats. But we appreciate you guys joining us.
That was a good
And we
part,
know
man.
we kept it short this week. So
Yeah. Well,